Today's video about weak organic acids as supplements and salts of these acids, and not only about this. It is quite a long video. Should be so sorry if you do not have enough time to watch this video. I would suggest downloading the presentation or text to the video and reading it. It will take a shorter time. But in short words, I propose using the weak organic acids as additives in food and drinks, and especially citric acid and citrates to improve digestion of proteins and suggest growth of harmful and suppress growth of harmful bacteria in the large intestine, which produces toxins, ammonia and 3-ethanolamine and 3-methanolamine. This is very toxic substances from undigested proteins. Together with natural toxins in plants, these bacterial toxins cause the leaky gut syndrome, autoimmune diseases, chronic inflammation of tissues, blood vessels and joints, overloading of our immune system, explosive accumulation of the so-called zombie or senescent cells, and ultimately premature death. Supplements of citric acid and citrates work very well with carnivore diet. In older age, such a diet is the basis of long and healthy life, and also metformin, berberine, resistant starch and cocoa powder may additionally improve your health and your microflora in the intestine, in the big intestine. So you will get better health. Okay, let's consider it is quite a long video. Sorry. Visitors to my channel, remember that in one of my older videos, just recently, I mentioned an American patent on the combination of berberine with calcium salt of alfa-ketoglutaric acid, this alfa-ketoglutarate, and to prolong lifespan and improve health, as well as some publications on the positive effects of the AKG, this alfa-ketoglutarate supplements, on slowing down the generations of fruit flies, nematodes, mice and yeast. And I also referred to an American company that is making good money by selling this AKG salt. And from what I understand, the suggested 2-gram daily supplement will cost about $5 American or 2,500 American dollars per kilo. But the aforementioned the patent intrigued me, and I have decided to investigate this information. So I ordered berberine through the AliExpress and received 250-gram package for $25 American with delivery, and started using it by adding berberine to homemade chocolate, or rather a mixture of cocoa powder, coconut oil and honey. This is what I do. You know that from my previous video, Anna Kalman, there was such a super centenarian. She was consuming more than 100 grams of chocolate. I cannot eat so much, but I made such homemade chocolate from cocoa powder, coconut oil and honey, and I use berberine inside, so that my daily dose will be between 1 and 2 grams of berberine. That is less than 25 cents per dose of the berberine. But I would not be a cheap Charlie if I didn't try to get this AKG for cheap and replace it with some other chemicals. This just remind you that this is a patent. The patent application was from June of last year, June 80th, and so you maybe remember. And this was the supplement, very expensive. It is supposed to take 2 grams per day. And this is just nothing. It is salt of alpha-ketogenic acid. So this I got berberine from AliExpress. It looks as it should do, and I cannot say anything more. I didn't, but it works. So I asked the AliBaba producer suppliers, can they supply this AKG? They said yes, okay. They were very nice, and the price is 50 American dollars per kilo, and delivery is $78 per kilo. So it is not so expensive. So, and as I said, it is only from AliBaba, is cheap supplement, cheap substance is available, and also the price is much lower than that was offered from the American company, namely less than $130 American dollars per kilo, or less than 26 American cent of American dollar per daily dose. But problem that chemical has to be received through the Thai customs. I already tried to order chemicals in Thailand for a couple of times, and I have no intention to do it again, because of additional cost, because additional cost may be the same as you pay for delivery and for the chemical, and the additional some humiliation. So they deal not so nice. It's just was. But since the suppliers refused or cannot sell the chemicals through the AliExpress, I gave up on this idea, maybe temporary, and decided to figure out if it is possible to somehow produce alpha-ketogenic ketoglutaric acid, part of ketoglutaric acid, from other chemicals, or replace it with something affordable. That is, of course, an option. There is, of course, an option to buy a mixture of L-Arginine, 75%, and calcium salt AKG, alfa-ketogenic ketoglutarate, and 25% online with no problem, and it is just normal supplement for bodybuilders. But the question remains, can we replace this AKG somehow, or synthesize it from cheaper chemicals? So indeed, let's take another look at the mechanism, how it works, this dietary supplement, how it works. This alpha-ketoglutaric acid is a result of conversion of citric acid in the Krebs cycle. So, and they said that you can buy it as a blend of this amino acid and AKG. So this is alpha-ketoglutaric acid is just simple acid. I don't know why it is so expensive. But maybe people cannot produce it cheap somehow. Okay, but or whatever. But it is a really simple acid, chemical acid. It is also very simple chemical structure of the amino acid, and why prices are so high, I don't know. This is the Krebs cycle, or so-called citric acid cycle. You see, and we were talking previously that the citrate get converted to alpha-ketoglutarate, and then to succinic acid, and then to fumarate, and then to maleic acid, and etc. So it is this going through, and this process of Krebs cycle, or the citric cycle, citric acid cycle, goes inside of our mitochondria, and in mitochondria, the pyruvate it is from glucose. Glucose have 6 atoms of carbon, and pyruvate is 3 and 3. So three atoms, and pyruvate goes to inside the mitochondria, and burning get oxidized in it. So please check my previous video on it. So it is in this process the alpha-ketogenic acid can be produced. This is a reaction, so you can see from up to down and from left to right. And then so it's and citric acid is a little bit more complicated, but not so much. It is also very simple acid. And citric acid, previously it was from lemon juice, but now it is produced by black mold. So it is microbiologically produced from sugar. and it is dirty cheap. I use it for cleaning some stuff from calcium deposits, from calcium carbonate deposits. So this is alfa-ketoglutaric acid. So it is, again, you see that not much complicated. And then other acids what can be probably can be useful. It is like fumaric acid. Fumaric acid, this is very interesting. And malic acid, yeah, it's also okay. So look, advertisement of this company claims that this AKG level in our bodies decreases with age. It is not entirely true. Energy production in mitochondria indeed decreases with age, and since AKG is directly involved in the Krebs cycle, that is in the oxidation of glucose, fatty acids and amino acids in the mitochondria, then yes, we can say that the amount of all acids involved in the Krebs cycle, namely citric, alfa-ketoglutaric acid, succinic and fumaric and malic and tartaric acids, decreases, and but produced in the Krebs cycle, this alfa-ketoglutaric ketoglutarate or alpha-glutaric acid can indeed be used for the synthesis of amino acids in cells, in particular the amino acid proline, which is necessary for collagen synthesis and therefore important for wound healing and bone strengthening. However, the equilibrium concentration of AKG in the blood is very low, approximately 10 micromole. It is very low, and then when attempting an intravenous injection, the AKG concentration gets halved in just 5 minutes. It is just disappear. So it is completely, very quickly consumed. Meanwhile, a dietary supplement of AKG is quickly absorbed in the epithelial layer of the small intestine, and so that that about 40% is quickly oxidized for energy production, and the rest is used for synthesis of amino acid glutamate. In this case, AKG is not getting to the bloodstream. So this, so of course, yes, indeed, we have this Krebs cycle, we have urea cycle, and to produce amino acids, and then indeed from citric acid we can get alpha-glutaric acid. Alpha-glutarate can get out and produce glutamate, and then also get to the urea cycle and produce other amino acids. Yes, it is can be useful, but again, we cannot increase amount of ketoglutaric acid in our blood. It's just impossible. So, and yeah. Okay, let's go. In our own turn, glutamate is used in our body for the synthesis of other amino acids, as I said, and in particular the amino acid proline, which is resistant to oxidation. Glutamate can also reduce ammonia levels in the body by reacting to form glutamine. So you see this glutamate and can get converted to glutamine, and by reaction with ammonia, and then it is helpful to some extent, yes. So it can reduce ammonia level in our body, and thus a conclusion is following: the AKG dietary supplement can help strengthen bones and heal wounds and heal the epithelium layer of the small intestine, and so to some extent improve the microflora in the intestine. So there was a publication, this is a reference, you can read. So we can talk about extending a lifespan and strengthening, but can we talk about extending the lifespan and strengthening of muscles? Well, let's consider. Increased AKG levels and suppression of mTOR have been shown in starvation of yeast and bacteria cells, in starving pigeons, and in humans after intense exercise. A relationship was found between the lifespan extension of the nematode worms at high level of AKG in the external environment. So if it is just used to the substance where nematode worms are living, then yes, indeed there was some extension, and this can be tentatively explained by suppression of the mTOR mammalian target of rapamycin mechanism, that is suppression of protein synthesis and ignition of the autophagy process when the level of AKG increases. But as I told already, taking a dietary supplement does not increase the level of AKG in our body. We cannot expect a similar effect for humans, so I don't think this advertisement is correct. And the advertisement also claims a reduction of chronic inflammation, increased energy production in cells, and extension of health span. In fact, the dietary supplement AKG is used as energy source, but only for epithelium layer in the small intestine. Can AKG reduce chronic inflammation? Yes, but not only to some extent. In my understanding, the source of chronic inflammation is in our body is the leaky gut syndrome, a disruption of the epithelium layer continuity in the intestine. Moreover, mainly it relates to the epithelium layer in the colon, not in the thin intestine, but in the thick intestine. Further, AKG is rapidly absorbed already in the small intestine and serves as energy source for the cells of the epithelium layer in there, and not in the colon. That is, AKG has a beneficial effect in the small intestine for sure, but not so much in the colon. Thus, I cannot say that the advertisement for the AKG dietary supplement are all wrong, but I think the positive effect is exaggerated. The same or even better results we can get much cheaper and much easier with other supplements, with ignition of the autophagy, and so let's look this how, in my opinion, this inflammation gets in our body. How we are getting inflammation? So we have, if the intestine is healthy, epithelium layer is not disrupted, so we have tight junctions between the cells, and then only small molecules like amino acids and like glucose and like the fatty acids can get through this epithelium layer. It is so thin, it is half the diameter of our hair. It is very thin layer. So imagine our protection from the environment is so thin. But it filtrates the substances, and if it is healthy, and then we are getting the nutrients and everything works well. But if it is swollen, if it is inflamed, then bacteria and toxins and some proteins get into the bloodstream, and then what is happening then? So let's discuss it. Let's focus on the one of the main causes of aging. This is the chronic tissue inflammation. In my opinion, chronic inflammation develops with age primarily due to toxins in the colon. As in older age, we move less and eat poorly, so it's not properly. As we age, the composition of our microflora in the intestines changes so that the number of microbes that produce toxins, for example, ammonia, 3-ethylamine, 3-methylamine is increasing, while the number of these microbes that produce hydrogen and short-chain fatty acids, as well as other beneficial metabolites, decreases. As I mentioned earlier in my videos, the intensity of contractions of the intestines and movement of the food masses along the gastrointestinal tract is accelerated in athletes. So the physical activity ignites contraction of the smooth muscles in our intestine, and time of the food passage through the gastrointestinal tract gets shorter. The beneficial bacteria which produce hydrogen and short-chain fatty acids yet have time to multiply, and fermentation of carbohydrates by this bacteria increases acidity in the colon, and which further stimulates contractions of the smooth muscles in the intestine. So when I personally follow the carnivore diet, this is absolutely correct, but we need this acidic substance, acidic reaction in the colon, so then our intestines will work properly, and we need some amount of carbohydrates. And normally people say, okay, the source of the carbohydrates should be fibers. Yeah, I don't use fibers because I don't eat fruits and vegetables. Instead, I consume a resistant starch. Okay, we will talk about this. So the next important point for us is that in an acidic environment, most of the ammonia is in an ionized form as ammonium ion NH4+, and it is poorly absorbed in the bloodstream and excreted with the feces, gets out. So all the toxins in acidic environment are just getting out. We remove them. And it is poorly absorbed in the bloodstream and excreted with feces, as I said. Peristalsis, that is the contraction of the smooth muscles in the intestines, ceases in alkali conditions in the colon. This would happen if proteins are poorly digested. That is, they do not completely break down into amino acids in the stomach due to low acidity of the gastric juice. In the case of a mixed diet, when proteins enter the stomach together with carbohydrates. Additionally, with low acidity of the gastric juice, food is poorly disinfected by hydrochloric acid in the stomach. And for example, a combination of boiled potato or mashed potato with meatballs or buns with cutlet inside the Big Mac are completely unacceptable for health. Completely, because it is combination of meat with carbohydrates. Don't do it. Don't eat so. So since we need very acidic gastric juice to digest proteins, we cannot eat proteins together with sauce of with meat, for example. And with a mixed or standard diet, some of the proteins remain not digested. They get down to the large intestine and rots in there. And so it means undigested protein serves as food for those bacteria that produce toxins. They produce 3-methylamine, 3-methylamine, and ammonia, and these toxins are disrupt the epithelium layer. This is so fragile, so small layer, so we have to take care of it. So we have to eat separately the proteins and carbohydrates. At the same time, due to the release of ammonia, contents in the colon is alkalized, because water solution of ammonia is alkaline solution, and contraction of the intestinal muscles are suppressed. The speed of movement of the feces then decreases. The liquid from them, together with toxins, gets absorbed into the wall of the colon, and the result is constipation, the formation of a stone-like plug in the colon. In addition to the toxins that harmful bacteria produce from proteins, natural toxins may be present in plant foods. This is because plants always have toxins to protect themselves. If you eat grains, especially grains, seeds, then this is babies, and the plants, they try to protect the babies. And how they protect? They cannot run, they cannot fight, but they do it chemically. They produce toxins which kill or make animals or humans who eat these plants and seeds, these babies, make them sick, make them live not so long, and have not so many own babies. So then again, that as a result of this toxin combination of plant toxins from seeds and toxins from the produced from undigested protein, the epithelial layer in the intestines becomes inflamed, gaps get formed between the epithelium cells, and the syndrome of the leaky gut develops. So toxins, some plant proteins and bacteria can enter directly to the bloodstream and carry it through the body and cause tissue inflammation through the body. Okay, again look at this. So if we consume plant food, especially seeds and grains, then we get inflammation of this epithelium layer, and then it is get disrupted. So there are gaps between the cells, and through these gaps the larger proteins and plant proteins can get inside, some toxins, and all get to our blood. And mast cells, the immune cells, immune cells, they detect foreign proteins and pathogens in the body and secrete histamine. Histamine is histamine. This is a signaling molecule that ignite local inflammation and migration of phagocytes. This is killer cells to the inflammation site to destroy the pathogens. This is how our immune system works. There are cells which sensing danger, and in case of they see the bacteria, they see some pathogens, they emit the signaling molecules, and these signaling molecules do such that they invite, they are signaling other killer cells to come, and they inflame the surrounding the cells, so that these cells may die. It's what is happening. Let's discuss it. So when vegans and vegetarians who point out that proteins can rot in the colon and poison our body with toxins are completely right, but only when they speak about mixed or standard diet. So if you follow standard diet and mix proteins with plant food, then you will get this problem. And then, of course, when people switch from such a mixed or standard diet to the diet low in protein, they achieve, they are getting improvement in their health. They feel much better, but not for so long. Since it is impossible to provide the body with necessary vitamins and amino acids on a vegetarian diet. In older age, when people need more protein to maintain muscle mass, to avoid sarcopenia, the only healthy diet is carnivore diet. I tell you, we have to consume up to 2 grams of protein per kilo of weight, and the protein in meat, it's only 15% of meat is protein, the rest is just water and some minerals and vitamins, etc. So we need a lot of meat, up to 1 kilo a day. I eat more than 1 kilo of some animal protein products a day. So it's meat and eggs and fish. So, and because we need it, and but we have to keep this carnivore diet, or at least not mixing proteins with carbohydrates, and exercises, and we have to do exercises during the fasting stage. Some amount of honey can be consumed after a big meal for muscle growth, because for muscle growth we need amino acids, but we also need some amount of insulin. Insulin is not always bad. If we eat a lot of proteins and we consume some amount of the carbohydrates like honey, then we get insulin gets up, and then this synthesizing of the amino acids, synthesizes of muscles is ignited. So in other conditions should be normal secretion of the hydrochloric acid in the stomach and the maintenance of acidic environment in the intestine. to suppress harmful microflora. So this is what we have to do. So you see, this is the mast cells. Mast cells, they have such a very sensitive surface with a lot of sensors, and when they sense some harmful bacteria or pathogens, they have some vacuoles inside, and then they secrete, they produce this histamine, and which is a signal molecule, and then phagocytes are coming, such beautiful cells, killer cells, and they kill bacteria and convert them to the amino acids and glucose for our body. So it is again part of our immune system. But if we are getting too much of these toxins, nothing works. Okay, in the young body, the function of the immune system is to destroy the pathogen in those cells that get converted into the so-called zombie or senescent cells. But with the massive influx of toxins and bacteria into our body from the intestines, the immune system can no longer cope with maintaining balance in the body. There are no resources left for the destruction of so-called zombies or senescent cells. The number of the zombie cells increases exponentially, as well as concentration of the signal molecules from them, the so-called CASSP, senescent associated secret phenotype. This is signal molecules, and it ignites tissue inflammation, because zombie cells, they don't die, they can be only killed by immune system. They produce these signal molecules for the immune system, so the immune system, that the killer cells will come and eat them and kill them, because they cannot die themselves. And then if our immune system is overloaded, cannot do it, then number of cells is increasing, zombie cells is increasing, because they turn surrounding cells also into the zombie cell status. So it ignites tissue inflammation, which becomes chronic and kicks us on a downward spiral in senile degradation of the body. This is the main mechanism of aging in my understanding. So please read it again. Again, maybe I'm talking not so well on it, but this is how I understand why we're aging. This is first, it is connected to the leaky gut syndrome. So therefore, rejuvenation, extension of the lifespan can only be achieved by eliminating the leaky gut syndrome. Reduction of the infiltration of the toxin from the intestines in the blood, reduction the rate of the zombie cells multiplication by reducing the release of the signal molecules of the CASP, and from then, and enabling our immune system to kill zombie cells faster than senescent cells appear. How to get it, how to do it step by step, I will talk in another video, but you see my logic. So inflammation produces these zombie cells multiply, and if our immune system cannot kill zombie cells quick enough, then the number of zombie cells increasing exponentially, and then eventually we die. So of course we can rely on senolytics, but senolytics, it is like this chemotherapy. Chemotherapies, it kills not only senescent cells, it kills also the healthy cells, so it is quite dangerous. So better to use this natural way to reduce this inflammation in our guts, and then to go and to help our immune system to fight the senescent cells. Okay, let's think together. The aforementioned patent proposes the use of berberine in combination with AKG. Berberine is known for its low absorption. According to some reports, only 1% of the berberine enters the bloodstream from the intestines. That is, the main effect of the berberine should be on the microflora in the colon. And berberine has been used in traditional Chinese medicine as a remedy for infectious diarrhea. That is, berberine is a bactericidal agent to destroy harmful bacteria, but also a laxative to free the intestines from feces. Berberine reduces absorption of glucose and other sugars in the small intestine, and therefore it leads to swelling of feces due to the osmotic transfer of water from the blood to the intestine. Because in the colon we have high concentration of glucose. Glucose is very it attracts water, and then we have the swelling of the feces, and then also production of the acidification. So what we are getting, so we have contraction of the intestinal smooth muscles due to acidification of the feces in the colon. So not anymore, we don't have any more alkaline reaction, we are getting acidic reaction, and then also the feces are more smooth, have more water, and then we are just removing, cleaning our colon with this berberine in particular. If you take much berberine, then it works like this. So the disaccharide lactose, also an osmotic laxative, produces osmotic transfer of water to the intestine, works in a similar way. And in part, this resistant starch works in similar. Resistant, why I eat morning and evening, twice a day, some amount of resistant starch? Because resistant starch, it is food for good bacteria. Good bacteria produce acidification, and then all this my food masses go relatively quick. So, and then also acidic reaction of the inside the intestine keeps my this epithelium healthy. So I used to have some psoriasis, for example, from consumption too much of protein of plant food. Not anymore. It is now I stay healthy. So indeed, the lactose is reaching the large intestine undigested, because our body, this I just explained that it is similar. Lactose, you can buy lactose, it is the medicine, and it works, laxative, and how it works. It is reaching the large intestine undigested and getting fermented by the lactic acid bacteria. In this case, the pH of the medium in the large intestine shifts to higher acidity, thereby inhibiting the growth and reproduction of pathogenic protein-eating microorganisms. So this why it is useful, why we need this. People say fibers, we need fibers, we need fibers. Okay, I don't use fibers because I don't eat fruits and vegetables. Instead, I eat this resistant starch. Also, cocoa powder is very helpful. So, and then resistant starch also is getting fermented in the colon, increasing production of short-chain fatty acids, and it acidifies the environment in the colon. Berberine also again works similar to the use of lactose and resistant starch, but it is just makes such conditions that glucose is coming from if you eat carbohydrates, then glucose from carbohydrates gets to our colon. So, and then if you have this acidification in the colon, at the same time production of toxins is suppressed, ammonia is removed from the body, production of the short-chain fatty acids is increased as an energy source for epithelium cells inside the large intestine. Therefore, the leaky gut syndrome is suppressed, and the level of chronic inflammation in the body getting reduced, because we're not anymore getting these toxins and foreign the proteins and bacteria to our bloodstream. So first step, what you have to do, you have to heal your this leaky gut syndrome, and this should be done smartly. So berberine has in principle the same effect what was advertisement in this Rejuvan product, but also resistant starch do the same for peanuts. Again, instead of paying big money and getting this sort of alpha-ketogenic acid, which works but not so well actually, Then we can use resistant starch. We can use this we can separate proteins from carbohydrates while we are eating. But also further, let's go further. The use of this alfa-ketoglutaric as a dietary supplement is less effective than other organic acids in the Krebs cycle. In particular, citric acid supplements have proven themselves especially beneficial, while malic, lactic, and fumaric acids are less beneficial. So they are good, but just in comparison with citric acid, they are less beneficial. Dietary supplementation of these acids improves protein digestion and mineral absorption. Additionally, they regulate the composition of the microflora in the intestine. Organic acids are organic carboxylic acids, including fatty acids and amino acids of the general structure. This is R, means some chain of carbohydrates, and the COOH. Short chain acids C1, C4, C6, C7 are associated with antimicrobial activity because they give this acidity. This is a simple monocarboxylic acid such as formic, acetic, propionic, and butyric acid, or carboxylic acids with hydroxyl groups such as malic, lactic, malic, tartaric, and citric acid, or short-chain carboxylic acids containing double bonds such as fumaric and sorbic acid. So I would say all organic acids are good in principle. This includes this fatty acids and short-chain fatty acids. They make us, they produce acidity in our colon. They are very good. But again, if we decide to use supplements, I would recommend, I personally would use, and I use actually the citric acid. Okay, organic acids help to maintain optimal pH in the stomach, ensuring proper activation and function of enzymes, and generally improves the digestion of proteins in the stomach. So if you consume the supplements of organic acids, and especially citric acid, then we have a better condition in our stomach. The proteins they will decompose to amino acids, and moreover, the increase of absorption of minerals such as calcium, ferrum, iron, and phosphorus, magnesium, and zinc, as well as amino acids gets improved. These acids also acidify the intestinal environment. The antibacterial effect of organic acids depends on whether the bacteria in the large intestine are pH sensitive or not. Only certain types of bacteria are sensitive to pH, namely bad bacteria. Bad bacteria, it is E. coli, which is make this diarrhea and produces toxins, or Salmonella, or other types of some very harmful bacteria. They are harmful to us, while other types of bacteria are not sensitive to pH, namely Bifidobacterium and Lactobacterium. They are good, they are our friends. They produce this acidic environment, and they produce short-chain fatty acids. It is clear that we have to supply food for beneficial bacteria to the colon, because they need, if we just consume these acids and citric acid supplements or other organic acids, then it is help, but not enough, because without this food for bacteria, they would eat our epithelium layer actually, or they will eat like mucus, which protects the epithelium layer. So we have to supply some food for them. So, and what it is so-called resistant starch in amount 20 to 6 up to 60 grams per day is the most convenient supplement for consumption. I personally take it twice a day, and morning and evening, And another convenient additive can be cocoa powder. Cocoa powder may be even better because it not only works the same like resistant starch, it has flavonoids. Flavonoids they kill harmful bacteria. They keep our body healthy. They stop inflammation inside our body, at least if it is not so much. Again, you cannot eat more than 100 grams of chocolate a day, so certainly, but then at such amounts, up to 100 grams of dark chocolate would be okay. And citric acid has been shown to be antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It shows. So citric acid in principle, it was shown in research. It reduces brain lipid peroxidation and neuronal inflammation, liver damage, and DNA fragmentation in mice after injection of toxins, which suppress, which they produce oxidative stress in their brains and liver. So again, if mice is injected with toxins, like we are getting toxins from the intestine in case of inflammation of the epithelium layer, then citric acid actually works to stop this inflammation, to reduce inflammation. It works as antioxidant, so it is really good substance. Citric acid as food additive goes well with eating meat and fish and also helps in absorption of minerals. Some studies have shown that citric acid, by lowering the concentration of inflammation markers, can improve the function of the endothelium. Endothelium, this is a thin membrane, thin layer inside of the heart and blood vessels, and it helps to relax and contract blood vessels, reduce blood clotting, and improves immune function and avoid platelet aggregation. So it is all for good. Citric acid salts called citrates can be used as anticoagulants, commonly called blood thinners, because of their ability to chelate calcium. Citric acid and potassium citrates are used to prevent gout, kidney stones, and metabolic acidosis in people with kidney problems. Citric acid can help to prevent small stones from turning into larger problem stones by covering them and preventing material from sticking to the stones. So again, citric acid was in use for so long, and it is all proven that it is very good for health. Since the year 2000, so relatively recently, there were reports on the benefits of using so-called hydroxy citric acid as a dietary supplement. It is a little bit different from citric acid, but again, it's just a hype. Okay, let's go. In particular, the predominant burning of fat instead of glycogen during exercise was shown, as well as suppression of the synthesis of fatty acids from glucose. Additionally, taking this supplement in amount 1.5 gram 3 times a day reduces appetite and therefore further improves weight loss. The discovery that this hydroxy citric acid in the form of potassium salt and in the doses 3 to 6 grams per day was inflammation mitigating effects, allowing new and more effective approaches to prevent elevate cardiovascular disease, cancer, arthritis, and a host of other conditions which include excessive inflammation, etc. So it has been shown that this hydroxy citric acid and its salt, similar to citric acid and citrates, inhibit the growth of the bladder stones. Okay, my personal opinion that the cheap citric acid can be used instead of this hydroxy citric acid, which is expensive, and with the same effect. So it is just, look, they are almost the same substances. So we have citric acid here, we have hydroxy citric acid. What is the difference, this hydroxy group? But again, citric acid we are getting pure, absolutely pure. hydroxy citric acid, it is extracted from fruits, and not always extraction is done well, and there may be some toxins inside. So, and again, it is expensive, and the people think that you pay more, you get better product. No, citric acid is working much better, guys. You see, this additional OH group is changes nothing. It is changing, but again, it is not so big difference. It is citric acid, hydroxy citric acid, all the same. In many publications, the use of organic acids have been suggested, and especially of citric acid. Again, citric acid is cheap, pure, easy to use, instead of antibiotics, as food additives for growing broilers, laying hens and ducks and even rabbits. Organic acids used as food additives, if they use as food additives, they create an acidic environment by lowering the pH in the digestive tract, which prevents the development of pathogenic microorganisms and increases the activity of enzymes. Feeding poultry with organic acids is believed to have the following beneficial effects. It was a lot of much research on it, many publications. So improved feed conversion rates, increased rate of growth, bird growth, increased absorption of minerals, and faster recovery from stress. Organic acids also have other properties such as improving protein digestion. So, again, decrease in gastric pH occurs after feeding with organic acids, and it may improve activity of the enzyme pepsin, so to digest protein. Acidifiers are used in poultry industry in 3 ways. Added to poultry feed in solid form. This inhibits the growth of mold in the feed and lowers the pH of the poultry crop. Spray on poultry bedding. This attacks the bacteria that breaks down the uric acid and limiting the amount of ammonia released. Again, the same mechanism. It is not inside your body, but outside. It is just prevents the release of the ammonia. Acidification with various weak organic acids such as formic, fumaric, propionic, citric, lactic, sorbic acids reduces colonization of pathogens and production of toxin metabolites, improves the assimilation of protein and also calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and zinc, and serve as substrates in the intermediate metabolism. Several studies support the claim that adding citric acid to broiler diet has improved body weight gain and feed conversion rate. Food supplements with organic acids and their salts can be used in laying hens for the benefit of egg quality and production and protein metabolism efficiency. There are known recommendations to use apple cider vinegar to improve digestion. This is quite common in Europe, quite common in America. But in warm countries, lemon juice is used instead to improve digestion. Citric acid is cheap and available now. Now it is not produced from lemon juice. It is produced with this microbiological method. It is cheap. So it is cheap and available, and I personally use citric acid and malic acid to marinate, to pickle ocean fish and cook meat. You can also use sliced lemon to acidify drinks, tea and water. There are recommendations to take mega doses of vitamin C, up to 10 grams per day, which is beneficial for immunity and digestion. And I take vitamin C twice a day, also together with my resistance starch. So I cannot say certainly, because it is again not much research, but again we see from the research that taking citric acid as supplement can be beneficial, and so that citrates or citric acid in powder form should be taken instead of AKG. So I believe so. That why to pay so much money, $5 per day, with the supplements of AKG? There is no benefit. It gives some improvement, certainly it gives, but as any source of weak organic acids, and it gives some improvement. But why to take this if you can take some better substance like citric acid? And at the very least, the potassium citrate is recommended to prevent kidney and bladder stones. It is common medicine, so people take it and just to prevent the stones. And magnesium calcium citrate can also be used for dietary as a dietary supplement. Since I use appropriate chlorides as source of potassium, magnesium, calcium chloride maybe can be good addition to my diet. Again, what I say, instead of taking 2 grams per day of this AKG alfa-ketoglutaric and pay $5 as a cheap Charlie, again, it is my opinion. I don't give any medical advice. But personally, it is shown with so much research that if before eating, if you with food, with proteins, if you consume citric acid, then it improves the digestion of the proteins. And then if you separate proteins from carbohydrates, it is further better. So use it. So this apple cider vinegar is good. Yeah, it's good. I have nothing against. But what it has? It has acetic acid and it has malic acid. But again, acetic acid, it works. It makes acidification of our gastric juice and acidification in the intestine. But citric acid works just better. And in tropical countries like in Thailand, where I reside for now, it is very common to eat fish and meat with sliced lemon or lime. So it is like here, it is relatively cheap food in here. That's fish with this sliced lemons. And the only problem that when it is not hot anymore, it is not so tasty. So what I do a little bit different. I buy Thai mackerel. It is very cheap, 3 kilo, for example, just this recipe, 3 kilo, I paid 216 Thai baht. This is about less than 7 American dollars per 3 kilo of fish. And then I cut it to pieces, and then I make the marinade. A marinade is with sea salt and potassium chloride. I make it very salty. I believe that we need more salt, and it is, to me, it is better. And I use black peppercorn and powder, black pepper powder. Or recently I changed. I use long pepper. It is not so strong, but it works. Okay, it is quite delicious. Also spice. And I use citric acid 6 grams, and I use malic acid 1 gram, and water 1 liter. So I make it, boil it for long. That I need to extract this. Some substance from paper, from black paper to extract it. So and then I use it as marinade and to make this pickled fish. And every day, almost every day, I eat one, sometimes two this mackerel fish. And I would tell you what, if I eat this with citric acid, if I make this acidification of the proteins, they are consumed much better, they are digested much better in my body. And for example, if some days I eat once a day. I come home in the morning, I eat this chocolate maybe a little bit, and I wait, and maybe 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock morning, I start my breakfast, or this is dinner, breakfast, something like between. And what I eat duck eggs. Duck eggs much better quality in Thailand. It is really good quality, and so I eat duck eggs, like 6 just an example, 6 duck eggs, quite many, I cannot eat more. And I eat these duck eggs with fish. And I tell you that I take like 1 or 2 mackerel fish, and this pickled, and they're salty, and I use it as a salt, and and with eggs, and it is enough for me. It is enough for me for all day. I don't want to eat anymore. So because proteins in fish and eggs, they're easily digested, and especially if it is with citric acid, if it is acidified, my gastric juice is acidified, and everything is consumed very well. And then I have satiety, and this satiety up to the end of the day. So this is interesting. But if I don't eat this pickled fish, then I eat twice a day maybe. If I eat chicken, for example, at morning instead of this fish, and not so much consume not so much the citric acid, I eat fish, not fish, I eat chicken, then I eat twice a day, because not enough protein, so protein is maybe not well digested. So then this is just recently I have decided that to consume more citric acid with food, because citric acid is so beneficial, so I will go so. And also it is quite common for me to buy this cheap lemon or lime and slice it and to use it to water, and I drink this water. But maybe citric acid in powder is better, because you drink this acidic water, then maybe it is harmful for your teeth, I don't know. So it is tasty, it is better than drink just water. You drink this lemon. It has some vitamins, it has some minerals, especially if you eat this sliced lemon afterwards. It has pectin. Pectin is good for your, as a source of fibers for your bacteria in the intestine. So, okay, in conclusion, I want to remind the visitors of my channel that I am not a medical professional, but I am a scientist and a physicist. So therefore I cannot give medical advice or recommendations. The purpose of this video is just provide information, in my opinion, on the problem of healing and prolonging life. I am interested myself in it, and I try to keep myself healthy and live longer and be productive. And if anybody decided to use this AKG, alfa-ketoglutaric glutarate, or maybe citric acid or citrate as a dietary supplement, then please share your experience in the comment of this video. And also do not forget to like, share information with other people. Subscribe to my channel. I will regularly Saturdays, today is Saturday, I will upload new video. And ask question in the comments. I will either answer right away, or I will take the question into account. I will use this as to produce new videos. I myself collect and use information to improve my own health and prolong the fruitful and productive life. And by my endurance, the improving of health condition, improving sleep and overall well-being, I am confident that I am going the right way. I am doing everything correctly. Also, there is still a lot of work to do. Again, so what I say now, this what. Again, you can download this presentation, a lot of publications about using of this organic acid, and there was so much work be done, and citrates for stones. It is quite established medication, and so you can, and antioxidative function of alfa-ketoglutaric, but also of citric acid. So I believe that we probably don't consider that the use of these weak organic acids as supplements. We probably have to take care, and especially some esters, for example, fumaric acid esters can improve growth of our hair. how it works, we only can tentatively think that, tentatively explain it as killing of the senescent cells. So this is the idea, that rejuvenation. So how do you can treat your alopecia, so your losing of your hair? That you have to get rejuvenation of your body. And how you get rejuvenation of your body? Then all this mechanism, what I explained, that with leaky gut syndrome, and then making your acidic environment in your gastrointestine tract, and be healthy, separate proteins from carbohydrates when you eat, and then this way, going this way, you reduce number of senescent cells, you reduce this chronic inflammation, and then eventually your immune system can kill the senescent cells, and then you are getting rejuvenation. And it is already quite demonstrated that killing of the senescent cells can extend your lifespan at least 30%, maybe 50%. So imagine that you will live not 70, 80 years, but you will live like 150 years, 160 years, or maybe more, because again, it is not the only what we can do. I will discuss in other video what else can we do to get this rejuvenation, and also to improve our outlook. Okay, download and read this, please read this presentation if you are interested, because it's quite big area and easy and cheap. So this citric acid, other organic acid, malic acid. Yeah, okay, so easy. Okay, I wish you a good day, please. Yeah, it's okay. Ask question, I will try to answer.